Hey guys, Mr. Harper Smith here. So let's talk about how to calculate a p-value based off the chi-square statistic. So the chi-square table is very similar to a t-table in that it doesn't always have the exact numbers that you're looking for. For instance, degrees of freedom, if you get down here, if you have 45 degrees of freedom, well, there's 40 or there's 50. And that's about your only two options. If you have 12 degrees of freedom, but let's say your chi-square statistic was 25, well, you're kind of between those two numbers, right? That's how it's going to work with the chi-square table. It is very, very similar to the t-table in that sense, but it is a different table nonetheless. All right, so let's do a little problem. Let's say that we have a chi-square statistic of 8.2, all right? And it was on a test of M&Ms. We were testing to see if the M&Ms in our bag really followed the statistic and the proportions that Mars Candy Company gave out, okay? So if there were 6 categories, that means our degrees of freedom is 5. So we're gonna follow the 5 along till we get to 8.2. Ooh, it looks like it's gonna be somewhere right in there. So 8.2, is it closer to the 9 or is it closer to the 1.6? In this case, it's closer to the 9. Not a lot. It's not really super close. So if we look, it's going to be somewhere between 0.9 and 0.1. We are closer to the 9.2, but not super close. So here, the chi-square statistic is probably going to be like a 0.2 or a 0.3, okay? So we'd say 0.2 to maybe 0.3, somewhere in there is going to be our p-value. Well, if alpha is 0.05, like it normally is, regardless of which one it is, do we reject the null hypothesis? No, we don't. We would keep the null hypothesis. Let's try another one. There we go. Let me clear this. Alrighty. Let's go back to the paper plate example. We had red, green, and blue. We went through, and let's say we get a chi-square statistic. There were degrees of freedom was 2, because there was 3 colors. 3 minus 1 is 2. Then we have a chi-square statistic of, what was the chi-square statistic? I don't remember even. I think it was, well, maybe I remember. It was 14 out of 20. Let's see, 14 out of 20 is 0.07. Sorry, 0.7. So we're going to come to degrees of freedom is 2. We're going to come to 0.7. That's going to be somewhere in there. Okay. Or somewhere in here. Looks like we're a little bit closer to this guy than that guy. So we'd probably have like a 0.96 p-value. We can keep going through and doing this over and over and over again. Let me give you one more. You try it, and I'll tell you what the answer is. All right, your degrees of freedom are 20. Your chi-square statistic is, let's do 35. What would your p-value be? All right, pause it, find your answer. Okay, you should have paused it. You should have your answer by now. So the 35 is going to land somewhere between 34 and 37, a little bit closer to the 34. So we're going to be pretty close to the 0.02, just a little bit less, so maybe 0.02 would be our p-value, somewhere right in there. In that case, we would probably reject our null hypothesis. Okay, hopefully this helps.